Are TKO being greedy? This seems to be a lot of the online discourse, and particularly for me, in one of the wrestling WhatsApp groups that I'm in, a lot of talk about TKO. Are they being greedy? Are WWE ticket prices too much? What's going on? Firstly, my first point is a lot of things can be true at the same time. Are WWE ticket prices at an all-time high and pricing some people out? Absolutely. I am a event goer as such, and I have as much right to moan about ticket prices being more expensive than they were in the last few years than anyone, and they are. I can completely agree that. However, TKO's objective is to increase shareholder value and the price of their shares, i.e. So if you look at the price of TKO stock, when they first floated, when they merged WWE and TKO together a few years ago, it floated at $100. It had a dip when the whole Vince McMahon stuff came down, and I think it went up to around $80, something like that as a low. It is now above $200 per share. So even if you bought at the beginning, you doubled your money, more than doubled your money. If you bought when there was a dip with the Vince McMahon stuff, you were getting close to tripling your money. So from a shareholder perspective, and ultimately, that's what any business is about, especially a publicly floated business, is to increase shareholding. You can't argue that they are doing good business. And some of the tactics that they're using may not be agreeable to fans, and I completely get that, and that's a completely fair perspective. But to not understand why they're doing it, and to not see that this is a business opportunity. We're in a wrestling peak at the moment, and actually that's wrong. We're in a WWE peak, because we're not in an AEW peak, because AEW are not having their highest ratings they've ever had. They're not having their highest attendance that they've ever had, etc., etc., etc. WWE is, and for the last 2 to 3 years we've had this amazing peak. You can argue when it started. I would probably argue it started at the end of WrestleMania 38 on to about now, where they're having record attendances, record Netflix deals, ESPN deals, etc., etc. So from a business perspective, it's hard to argue that the tactics that they're using, i.e. stopping screenings in Vegas when people can just buy a ticket for Vegas, and that's one that I thought was interesting, because people are like, people can't watch it on a big screen in Vegas. Vegas, if you have never been, is a very enclosed space, and if you are going to go to Vegas and you are a wrestling fan that weekend, you are going to go to WrestleMania. If you are not a wrestling fan and you might just catch it, fair enough, you may not then watch it on a big screen, that's not a problem. But if you're going to be in Vegas, if you're going to go to Vegas, the bloody most expensive place in the world, then you are going to buy a ticket. So would it be weird if WWE stopped screenings everywhere? Yeah, of course it would. But in the place that it's in to drive up ticket sales, why wouldn't they use that? You can claim TKO being greedy, you can say the prices are too much, and I think there's an argument to say you start pricing people out, real wrestling fans, it affects the atmosphere. It hasn't happened yet. I think WrestleMania, to an extent, a lot of WrestleManias, that always happens anyway. There is fans that aren't necessarily fans who watch every Raw and SmackDown and that. I don't think we've had that yet. There is a possibility of that, and I completely agree with that, and I think it's fine to have that opinion. What I'm struggling with is that people not comprehending the business reasons behind why a company like TKO or many other companies would be doing this, to use the peak of a product, which is where WWE is in at the moment in terms of its popularity, in terms of its mainstream appeal, and the Logan Paul, and let's talk about Bad Bunny, that would be unreal. Like Bad Bunny, let's be honest there. Bad Bunny appeared and wrestled at WrestleMania, which he obviously has done before, but where Bad Bunny is now is like where Michael Jackson was during Thriller, so we're talking about what, WrestleMania 3 or 4, Michael Jackson actually wrestling. That's insane. Like, that's the levels that they are, and they're absolutely right to feed off that. And does that mean ticket prices can go up, merchandise prices go up, things go up? That's a logical thing. Supply and demand, which was also a WWE tag team.